I'm delighted to welcome to the podcast Mark Bauerlein. Mark is Emeritus Professor of English at Emory University and an editor at First Things magazine. His latest book is The Dumbest Generation Grows Up, From Stupefied Youth to Dangerous Adults. Mark, thanks for joining me.
Well, I'm happy to be here. Glad to be here, in fact.
Oh, great. Well, I'm such a big fan of First Things. I went to one of their conferences, one of the ones where they do like a deep dive. I saw the recent one this year was on death. I think I went to one a couple years ago, but they have such great content, such great things there. What inspired you to want to dive into the topic of the dumbest generation grows up? Because you seem very smart.
Well, I was a college teacher for a long time, an English teacher at Emory University. And I saw during the aughts, the 90s in an English department, you always had these bookish kids, they grew up reading Hemingway or Jane Austen, and they wanted to get more. And they really found a lot of their identity, their lives through these characters. In fiction, they might have had a great high school English teacher. And what I saw over the aughts is actually what everyone saw, this transfer of young people from being print readers to screen watchers. They suddenly had all these new tools flood into their lives. And, Facebook came along 2005-06, Twitter came along in 2008, all the iPhone, and then the Instagram, the chatting, the texting, the photo, and everything. And what we saw was the gradual diminishment of that literary education, the literary sensibility of young people. And I said way back in 2008, this first Dumbest Generation book was, this is a terrible formation for young people who are going to grow up to be responsible Americans who have some sense of history of the past. They might know something about where revolutions usually lead, and that the American Revolution was a great exception to the norm if we look at France and Russia and China and Cambodia and elsewhere, and that we're losing that sense of things, and that these millennials who were 15 years old in 2008, they're in their bedrooms, they got all the screens going, they got the music playing, the TV is on as well. All night long, they're going back and forth with their peers. This is going to produce an adulthood that is going to be hyper-consumer oriented, that is not going to have really much religious sense of anything. They're not going to be devoted to their country or to their localities, their neighborhoods. A lot of them are coming out of broken families. And when they're 30, 35 years old, they're going to be angry, bitter, disappointed. They're going to have a sour mood about the nature of their country, the nature of the world, and they're going to mistrust their fellow citizens, and they're going to turn to the false gods of politics. The woke. This is actually for them a replacement for all the foundations that they didn't get when they were young. Church, country, family, honor, tradition, and they need that. Without them, they got a big hole in their souls, and they're filling it with the woke. Because what does the woke give? Woke is a very moral vision of the world. It's not this loosey-goosey relativism thing. You got heroes and you have villains. You've got the sacred. George Floyd is a sacred object in their minds. And you've got the profane. Donald Trump, he's an abomination. They can't even think an image of him without their faces going into this grimace. So this is why the subtitle of this new book is From Stupefied Youth to Dangerous Adult. And when we find that the youth vote in the midterms, 18 to 29-year-olds, went 37 points in favor of the Democrats, we shouldn't be surprised. This was bound to happen. And the left has understood this. Get them while they're young. Get them through the schools, through the curriculum, and then through the entertainment that they consume when they're teenagers. And this can produce now what is becoming really one of the most reliable voting blocks for the Democrats.